Okay, welcome everybody to increasing and decreasing value, also known as 10 times bigger or 10 times smaller. This is a specific skill that comes up in Unit 1 that a lot of kids have difficulty understanding. So I thought I'd shoot a special video just to go over this particular skill and try and isolate it. That way kids can watch it again, parents can talk about it. Parents, I think once you see what I'm talking about, you're going to see why it's tough for the students to understand, but a little bit easier for the parents because it gets a little bit wordy. So let's take a look at it. So here's an example of a problem they might see in this unit. The value of 1 in 10 is 10 times as large as the digit 1. And you read that and you're like, what the heck are you talking about? It's confusing. So let's break it down into its pieces. All right. So the value of 1 in 10, we're not looking at the 10 specifically. We're saying this 1, that 1, the 1 in the tens place. Well, it is a 10 if it's in the tens place, right? How much bigger is that compared to a 1 here? And I mean, think about it like money. How many $1 bills is it going to take to make a $10 bill? Well, that's a pretty easy answer to that one. It's going to take 10, right? So 1 times, we see that word up here, times, how many times? 1 times what equals a 10? 10. And that's the first example problem. So we'd say the value of 1 in 10 is 10 times as large as the digit 1. Okay, and that's easy to see when it's 1s and 10s. However, they're not always going to have it be 1s and 10s. Here's an example of a different problem. The value of 5 in 500 is blank times as large as the value of the 5 in 50. Now, once again, we're looking at the place value. So we've got a 5 in the hundreds place here. I've got a 5 in the tens place here. You can think about this like it's $500. And think about that like it's $50. So I break it down into its parts again. I look, I go, okay, there's my number, there's my number. Those are the 2 pieces I have pulled out for you. And then I start rewording it. How many 50s to make a 500? Well, I can sit here and count by 50s. 50, 100, 150, 200. Count my 50s until I get to 500. Or use that same rule. 50 times 10 equals 500. So the value of 5 in 500, that's 10 times bigger than a 50. So 500 is 10 times bigger than a 50. It takes 10 $50 bills to make $500. If you don't trust me, kids, let's look here. 50, 100, 150, 200, 250, 300. That's 6. 350, 400, 450, 500. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. It takes 10 50s to make a 500. So it's 10 times larger. Now the big concept here is all we did was move over 1 place value. So in the first problem we did, let me go back to that one. We moved from the 1s place to the 10s place. We only moved over 1 place value. And this problem is a lot bigger, but it's the same idea. We're moving from the 10s place over to the hundreds place. We're only moving over 1 place value. I'm not jumping from the 10s place to the millions place. I'm moving over 1 place value. So if you move over 1 place value, you are either going to be 10 times larger if we're getting bigger, or you're going to be 10 times smaller. Okay? So for instance, here are some examples here. When you move over 1 place value, you are either getting 10 times bigger or 10 times smaller. So here's an example of the 1s place to the 10s place. So I'm comparing 2 to 20. 20 is 10 times bigger than 2, because it would take 2 times 10 to make a 20. Your next problem, same idea, but I'm still only moving 1 place value. I'm moving from the 10s place to the hundreds place. I'm not going from the 1s place to the hundreds. I'm going from the 10s to the hundreds. I'm only moving over 1 place value. 20 compared to 200. 200 is 10 times bigger than 20. 20 times 10 equals 200. And last, a really big one, I'm going from the hundreds place to the thousands place. It looks complicated, but it's not. because you're still only moving over one place value. 200 compared to 2,000. Well, it's going to take 10 200s because 200 times 10 is 2,000. Okay, 2,000 is 10 times bigger than 200. Okay, so the main concept we were working on in 4th grade is 10 times bigger and 10 times smaller, and that's because we move over one place value. Now, next level stuff. This is where it gets a little bit more difficult. So I'm only going to look at one of these problems because we really don't hit them that much in 4th grade, but for you go-getters that really want to learn the next level stuff, here's the next level. The value of 1 in 1,000 is blank times as large as the value of 1 in 10. Okay, well, I look here. I've got my 10, okay? I got my tens place here. This is the thousands place. I'm not moving over one place. I'm moving over 2 places. And a lot of kids right away, they go, oh, moving over 2 places. Since I'm moving over 2 places, that means I'm 20 times bigger because I moved over 2 places, 2 tens. And I say, no, because plug that into my little formula down below over here. Does that make sense? 10 times 20? No, 10 times 20 would be 200. That doesn't make any sense. So when you move over 2 places, you're moving over 10 times 10, which is 100. The value of 1 in 1,000 is 100 times bigger. And if you think about it, you would need, if you were doing this all in $10 bills to make $1,000, you would need to sit there and you'd have to count out $10 bills 100 times to make $1,000. So that's the next level stuff, is when you jump 2 places. But in 4th grade, like I told you before, we're really worried about this concept. When you move over 1 place, you're either getting 10 times bigger or you're getting 10 times smaller.